Hello. Welcome to Healthy by Choice, the podcast that's here to ignite your belief in what's truly possible for your health and well-being. Hi, I'm Dr. Kerry, and what lights me up is empowering others. My mission has always been to inspire you to take your health seriously and give you the tools to understand your body on a deeper, more meaningful level. In each episode, we'll explore the healing power of nature, the role of real food as medicine, and how intentional movement can restore balance to your body and mind. So whether you're on a journey of prevention, recovery, or simply seeking more vitality, this podcast is your reminder. You hold the power to heal. Thanks so much for joining me. Hi, friends. Welcome back. I am super excited yet again to be able to have someone to interview and share with you. And I really want to share with my community someone that I personally use as a healer and reader, and someone that I love to refer to. So many people ask me whether or not I know someone who does readings, or whether I know someone who is, more intuitive, all kinds of questions. And the answer is yes. So I am sharing with you today intuitive healer, reader, Deborah Lighthart. And Deborah has been doing this not only for many years, but also many years for me. And when I call Deborah, it's usually because when I'm doing my meditations, I don't feel like maybe I'm going deeper, or sometimes I have a question and I want to ask my more knowing self. And, I get stopped up in the questions. So with that, welcome, Deborah. Thank you for being
Hi,
here.
Karen. Thank you so much for having me.
I
Thank
just
you.
am so excited to share you with my community, because the number of people who say to me, "Do you know anyone who does readings, or do you know anyone who I can contact online?" And I'm like, "Don't you know Deborah Lighthart?" Like, we all need Deborah Lighthart.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Yes, I'm happy to be here to chat with you today and offer whatever little pearls of wisdom come through for us, for your community as well. So
I love
thank you.
that. And I was saying how, I am a regular meditator and I usually like to be quiet. I ask myself questions, and then in my mind, I'm asking for guidance of whether it's guides around. Sometimes I talk to my dad who passed a few years ago. Sometimes I'm just asking. And there are those moments where it feels a little desperate, or it feels like somebody answer this question for me, even though in my being, I know that I know the answers, and I know that the answers are never out there. They're always in here. And when I need to go deeper, whether it's a question or just a calming of my system, I will often call you, and together we'll do what I call a guided meditative, like a journey. So tell us about your work, and then kind of starting with that. Why do you think I can go so much deeper when you guide me?
Well, honestly, I feel like anytime anyone does something together, it's always easier than doing it alone. So it's pretty much that, energy of, kind of growing as we work together, but it's also, a combination of like connecting with, like you called it, your more knowing self. And sometimes we all have I don't want to necessarily say resistance, but it is pretty much a resistance or a blockage to being able to see ourselves completely clearly. We all have it, no matter how much we work on ourselves and how much we try to evolve and grow and be aware of ourselves. We all have those blind spots. And so working with another person, just gives you a second set of eyes or a second set of knowing, so sort of like my knowing self can communicate with your knowing self, and then we can discover, more knowing together. So I feel like that's probably why you can go a little deeper. It's just the energy of working together with another person. And I've been told over the years that, that people feel very peaceful when we work together. And I think that sense of safety and peace that a provider of any sort, any service provider, practitioner, or, helper of any sort, when you can provide someone with a safe, sacred space to kind of let their armor down, and really open up to themselves. Sometimes it's not even me being aware of the answer. It's me creating a space where the other person become aware of their own answer. So, yeah, I would say that's probably a big part of why you feel more at ease and able to go a little deeper, when there's assistance.
Yeah, that's really true, really well said. And I, yes, I feel as though every time I've had a reading with you or a guided, whatever we're going to call it, journey, meditation with you, I've often had the almost immediate response, like I wasn't going to get there on my own. I really needed that because I needed to, whether it's let down my armor and trust and just feel safe enough to maybe take my brain out of it. Sometimes what happens, at least for me, I can only speak for me, but when I'm thinking that I should or I can get there on my own, and then I get in that loop and it makes whether it's a decision making or even just relaxation, often I will recognize that I haven't been relaxing much lately, or I need to soothe myself a little bit, whatever that means. And then I'll call you and we will do a guided meditation. Or sometimes I go on your website and I get a pre-guided meditation. And I love that you make those available too. So we should let my audience know that that's available. There are topics after
Mhm.
topics after topics on your website, really inexpensively, and then I can just listen, which I love that too. But I will say
Amazing.
there's
Yeah.
nothing quite like the experience of having you live.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so sweet. So sweet of you to say.
And do you do
Yeah.
most of your work over the phone?
I do. In fact, I've been doing most of my work over the phone for my entire career. I started my work when my middle child was a baby. And so it was 27, she's 28 now. So it
Wow.
was 28 years ago. And because I was a single parent of three children, it just was hard for me to get back and forth. And so working over the phone just seemed easiest to work around my children's schedules. And then I just sort of stuck with it because it was easy. And I do see people in person on occasion. But when COVID happened, everyone sort of closed their offices and went inward, and I closed mine too. And I've been working exclusively over the phone since then.
Mm.
Except if there's someone local. I will occasionally do events where I go to maybe a salon or, a salt spa or something like that, and I'll offer one-on-one readings there or, one-on-one healing work as well. But most of the time I work over the phone. So a very long answer to say yes. Yes, I work mostly over the phone.
That's pretty cool. And also, I know that you have very generously over the, I don't know, years offered a free full moon meditation on your Facebook page, and there are multiple, right? Free.
I do. Yeah, I do have several free options. The most popular are the full moon options. I feel like full moon work is really powerful. So yeah, I have two full moon um, meditative journeys. And one of them is a manifestation journey, which is about 22 minutes. So it's easy to make time for. People could do it on a lunch break or what have you. The other journey is a little bit longer. It's a full 55-minute journey, but it also includes a chakra activation for all seven chakras. So, yeah, so it goes through each chakra. And I haven't listened to it personally myself in many years, so I can't remember all the details of it. But yeah, I do offer as many, opportunities of healing for people that I can.
Well, I do often listen. Almost every full moon, I put my crystals
Um,
so that they can moon bath, and then I listen to your meditation. Like almost.
oh, how wonderful.
Okay, so then one of the things that I remember when I first met you, and I think we've been working together for, your middle child was a little, well, your littles were really little when I met you.
Right. I think it was probably 15 years ago when I met you, 10, 12 years ago, maybe.
Awesome.
I think, I think so. Yeah. I'm
So,
scrolling back in my memory. It's been quite a while.
right. So I've had a lot of experience working with Deborah, for those who
Mm.
are wondering. And one of the things that struck me the first time you did a reading for me over the phone, so I'm in California and you're in Wisconsin. It just so happens to be that you live near where my sister lives and that I could see you in person when I'm in Wisconsin, but I live in California right now. And I remember you were saying like calling in our guided masters and calling in, ascended masters. And I was thinking to myself, especially back then, I was like, wait, I have those? I have guided masters? Like I have people looking out for me. And that was really helpful. Just in the
Oh,
idea of knowing that when I'm, looking at the sky for answers or just feeling frustrated or frustrated with myself or whatever I've gotten myself into, just knowing that there are outside forces. And will you talk a little bit about that? Like, to whom do you call on?
I have a pretty wide array of spirit beings that I call upon. And I look for mostly making a connection with any beings on the other side that can provide us with assistance in whatever our life lessons and our experience is about right now. And so I do include guardian angels, spirit guides, spirit teachers, ascended masters, deceased loved ones, and ancestors. And I feel like that covers a huge amount of what. But then for anyone that I hadn't covered, I often like throw in the little last of any other beings of love and light that can be of assistance today.
Right.
And so we all have a spirit team that most of us are not really aware of. And we all have ancestors, guides, angels, we all have spirit beings that watch over us. And while what our life experience is this time around may not look like we think an ascended master's lifetime would look like, we all may be ascended from previous lifetimes, and it's hard to know exactly. I find that a lot of the guides that follow us, our spirit team, follows us from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. So it's not even just who you know or were related to in this lifetime. This is going back hundreds, thousands of years and connecting with that team of guidance that can help us because chances are, whatever you're going through this time, you've had some version of it some other time, and so has everyone else. So, making those connections, I feel like I've kind of described it as like going up in a helicopter and looking down at the terrain below. So, connecting with those higher beings of awareness and consciousness can help you look at your terrain and see, oh, hey, I'm headed towards a mountain. I'm headed towards a cliff. I'm falling off the road now. Like, just getting that kind of higher guidance and higher insight can help us all choose to re-navigate whatever we're going through so we can do it with more ease and grace.
Mm. I think first time you did a reading for me, or the first several times, and you said that calling upon our, spirit team, there was a real relief for me to know that I can ask for help. And
Absolutely.
I'm not maybe always going to get there on my own, right? So the reason that we ask a friend for help, chiropractor, acupuncturist, massage therapist, much in the same, right? Not being able to see, like sometimes we're too close, and sometimes
Absolutely.
we're so close, but we just need that catalyst. And other times it's like we're just totally missing it. And I think for me, being able to just fully relax and trust that I can go into some sort of a guided meditation or ask the cards and trust that the answers will be there is really helpful. And so one of the things I've often thought about doing, right now I'm teaching chiropractor's continuing education classes. And as much as I love doing that, I like to start the class in the morning, like, let's ground ourselves. This is 12 units of just wellness. Just we're here to heal. We're here to pour into ourselves for one day. And before we start that day, I like to ground us. And I've often thought of having you make a recording just for that. And then
Mm.
as the day goes on, normally we'll do stretching and we'll do hiking and whatever. And then before we go to lunch, I always say, you know how everyone says don't eat a big lunch because I don't want you to fall asleep after lunch? I say the opposite. Go load up because we're going to lie on the ground and do a guided meditation. And the first one to
Mm.
right? So, like, I've also thought about having one of your guided meditations, one of your activations journeys available for people in that setting. And I also sort of want to go corporate with this. I've realized that people are not giving themselves enough time to heal. People are not resting. And when I think about how could I gift someone the gift of rest, the gift of letting go, I immediately think about these journeys I've taken with you and how I do go deeper. And I can't even tell you how often I just look through the list on your website and pick something to listen to, or something that I have pre-recorded from a meditation you've done with me in the past. But then also tell me about the readings that you do. Like, let's just say a
I'd
person,
be happy to. Yeah. Well, let me first kind of talk a little bit about that. I would be more than happy to create a journey for grounding, for clearing, for relaxation, whatever you need. In fact, I think I have done that for someone else for just a general relaxation, and I may still have it on file. Would be happy to share it with you. So we can talk about that later if you like. In terms of doing readings, I basically the best way to describe it is I use a combination of tarot cards. So what I see in the cards, what I feel from you intuitively, and whatever insights or messages I pick up from the other side. And I blend that together to give people more clarity about whatever it is in life they're going through. Most people have questions, concerns about their love life, their career, their financial development. Things like that tend to be the most things we worry about the most. So they come up as questions the most in a reading. And I do encourage people to not look at a reading so much as a prediction, but more as this is the path you're currently on. If this is not the direction you want to be going, how can we navigate that in a different way? Sort of like we talked about with the helicopter before, kind of walking, going up, getting that higher guidance, looking at where this situation is headed and how can you best navigate it. So I feel like that's the true power in getting a reading because we all live in a world of free will and of choices. So any predictions, could always be changed with your free will decisions. And so my work as a reader and as a healer is to help people see where they're able to re-navigate and how they can best do that if it is possible. Sometimes there's certain experiences we have in our lifetime that really we can only walk through it. We can't get rid of it because it's karmically what our soul chose to come here to do. And so there's certain experiences we may have that we can't necessarily change with our free will. And if we do, well, then we're just going to come back and repeat that cycle again until we do, learn what we came to it to learn. And so there are times in life when, there's not a step we can take that's going to, magically erase the lesson we're going through. But in those cases, I feel like it's still beneficial to get a reading because you can understand how can I best process this? How can I best integrate this wisdom into my world so that I don't need to keep repeating this lesson, so that I can feel, you know, um, feel a different experience in my life. So I feel like the readings in general are helpful to people to navigate their lives, more comfortably and with more awareness and perception and consciousness. So that's really my goal in offering it. I think I used to joke all the time when I'd sit down with people that, you could sit down with me and I'm not going to tell you when your neighbor's dog is going to get pregnant or if you're going to get a flat tire next week. I said, but what I am going to do is look at what is your soul learning right now? What are you going through in your life? Because our soul lessons will play out in so many different ways in our world. And when we understand them and when we can, see like, oh, aha, I've been doing this for 30 years and I want to do that differently now, it gives us an empowerment to be able to navigate our journey, with, I guess, like more clarity and more freedom.
Hmm. Yes, and I think that is really answers when people ask me if I know a reader. I think you really spoke to what they would be searching for, which is someone to help present what's up for them.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
fantastic. Well, let's tell people how they can work with you.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I do most of my work over the phone. I also offer, I think, email or text readings. I do have a few people that work with me as well. I have a couple people on my team, an astrologer and another tarot reader, and I'm looking to add in a spirit medium and numerologist and pet communicator over the next few weeks. So it's kind of exciting to offer a few different things. But in order to work with me, like we talked about, I do work mostly by phone and I'm very Googleable. So I've been online since the beginning of online. So if you just search for me at Deborah Lighthart or deborahlighthart.com, everything you need to book a session with me or understand what a session with me can bring you would be available through the links on that page.
Fantastic. And we'll spell that out in the soap notes so people know the proper spelling of Deborah and the proper spelling of Lightheart. And also, I
Okay,
just
thank
want to
you.
go to her socials. Are you on, I'm only a Facebook person. Are you on other social medias?
I am on Facebook as well as Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, I think Twitter.
Yep.
Well, X now. It's used to be Twitter, X. I think I'm on a lot of socials. Not all of them, because there's so many new ones popping up all the time, but I'm on a lot of the older ones.
Do that. And are you always Deborah Lightheart on all of them?
Yes.
Conveniently
Yes, I
named.
am.
Okay, my friend, I am going to stop the recording and we can continue our conversation. But is there anything else you want to leave with the listeners before we end this?
That is a great question. I guess I would say, um, the biggest thing I would love to leave with listeners about getting readings or even about, finding a provider or a practitioner to work with, because I felt like that was my biggest challenge when I began my journey decades ago, was finding someone that I could work with that I felt comfortable and safe and, clear with. And I would say the thing that I'd want to leave with everyone is if you're searching for assistance, and you're looking for someone to help you on your journey, some of the best things you can do now with having social media or having, people have YouTube channels and people have, is really watch what the person has to say to see how you feel at their frequency, because different readers and different healers function at different frequencies. And so, someone that may be helpful to a friend of yours or may be helpful to a different crowd, might be perfect for them, but not for you. And so I'm really big on, feeling their frequency, feeling their vibe, listening to how they present and what they have to say, so that as you step into it, you can feel in alignment with finding the truth that you're seeking. And so in order to find that, I would say, like kind of like scout their social media pages, look at their websites, see what they are all about before you jump in to, make a booking with someone. Because that's one of the things I feel like people when they come to me, they're like, "Oh my gosh, Deborah, I met this person and it was so terrible. She told me so many awful things about my life." And I think a reading should never be doing that. And if it does tell you an awful thing about your life, it should be designed to help you figure out, like, oh, you're about to go through this tough karmic lesson, and here are the things that can help you. So you should leave a reading feeling more peace, feeling inspired, feeling more clarity. That's the way you should feel as you walk away, not more confused or stressed out or upset. So really, I guess, pay attention to frequency and pay attention to how you feel after you've worked with someone. So I guess those are my little tidbits of wisdom to share.
Well, friends, can you see that's why I feel safe with Deborah? That's why I feel like I can let myself relax because, yes, I feel that from you. I feel like
Mhm.
since I met you, and especially after working with you once, maybe twice, I really was able to let my guard down and just flow with the readings or the guided visualizations or the whatever experiences I had signed up because I know that my self, my spirit is safe. And so I really appreciate that with you. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you for sharing everything. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being in the world as a healer and as a human. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for this entire experience and for all of our journey we've shared so far.